All right. Welcome, everyone, to the MCU's Bleeding Edge. We are live Wednesday night, October 9th, to discuss the fifth episode of Agatha All Along. So, of course, in our awesome panel here, we have Mr. Andres, the pop culture guy, with us. How we doing, Andres?
Very good. Very excited to talk about this episode.
Excellent. Thank you. Great to have you here. Then we also have returning from the Nerd Corps, Mr. Brad. How we doing, Brad?
Doing great, doing great. Thank you for having me back.
No problem. Thank you for coming back. And then, of course, we have, for the first time on the show, Mr. Marble. Welcome, Mr. Marble. How we doing?
We're doing awesome. Thank you so much for having me on tonight.
No problem. Great to have you. And, of course, we have returning Mr. Jessie Starcher. How we doing, Jesse?
Hey, if I can get this cam to work, I'd be a lot better. Thanks for having me, though.
Always great to have you, sir. And hello to Yellow Rose Games in the comment section. Hey, how's it going? All right, so episode 5. So kind of just going around the panel to start us off, kind of. Just want to get people's thoughts, especially those that haven't been with us for the first 4 episodes that we've done. Just your thoughts up to this 5th episode. What are your thoughts leading up to this episode, and kind of what were your thoughts going into episode 5? And I'll start with you, Mr. Marvel.
I mean, I'm really screwed up right now after this episode we just got. It's been slow. It was picking up. I'm not big on all the musical renditions going on about the Witch's Road, which, Disney's got to have a little song and dance there. But
right.
All my theories are out the door now.
Okay, excellent. How about you, Brad? Your thoughts? Same question, sir.
I've actually been quite surprised by this series because I didn't think it was going to be worth much of a watch. I still find it kind of average, but it's better than I thought it was going to be. And, leading up to this episode, I still think the best thing's Aubrey Plaza. But, the ending to this one was certainly a surprise. So maybe they're taking us a whole nother direction we weren't expecting.
Excellent. All right. Andres, your thoughts, sir, leading up to this episode?
I've been enjoying this show. If you like WandaVision, this was the show for you. I think I appreciate that the team are coming back for the MCU and to expand more of the supernatural witch side of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think it's so far been successful. And this episode, I kind of knew it was going to be something special, and because I heard some of my friends who had the press screening of these, they only had the 4 episodes, but they didn't have 5, so it was kind of intriguing what this could bring, and it didn't disappoint, and I'm very excited to talk about it.
Excellent, thank you, sir. Mr. Jesse, same question, sir. Your thoughts leading up to the 5th episode?
Yeah, so I mean, Monday and Tuesday, I crammed in episodes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I was, I was curious as to what they were going to do with, with this character, and of course, with the actress that's playing her. I'm a big fan, and I knew she did very, this is Catherine Hahn, right? And I was excited to see what she could do because I knew she just ate the scenery in Scarlet Witch, WandaVision. That's what I'm looking for, and really enjoyed it. So getting all 4 of these issues in here, or all 4 of these episodes in here, song and dance. That was one thing that kind of drove me a little up the wall, but hey, look, I'm not going to be too critical about it. And boy, I have a hard time seeing some stuff, especially when they hit the Witch's Road. Now, I don't know if that's just because my TV sucks, or if they're just like, hey, let's tamp down the lighting a little bit because it's got to be eerie. We're getting close to Halloween, and I understand that that's probably what the vibe is here. But man, that was some of the stuff that kind of drove me up the wall. However, I am invested a little bit here. I'm enjoying myself, and there's mystery abound. I mean, there's more questions than there are answers for me. So I'm looking forward to figure out what's going on. Uh-oh. Don't put me in this spot, please.
I expected to do that, but sorry about that. Go ahead.
No, that's it. That's pretty much where I'm at.
Excellent. Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right. So So basically, if you're not familiar with Agatha All Along, basically we're up to the 5th episode for the yous out there that might have not watched the show yet. And basically, Agatha's trying to reacquire her powers by going on the Witch's Road, and that's pretty much kind of where we're at here for you folks. So basically, the episode starts off with showing the Salem 7. Basically we see them, we see them in animal form and then turn into their like witch-like states, and are basically searching along the road for Agatha. And we see that, and all of a sudden, Patty LuPone's character wakes up and realizes that the Salem 7's searching for them, is on their way looking. And so, they get up, they're all frantic, they're trying to figure out how to get out of there, what to do. And, they kind of, as they're trying to figure things out, they kind of get an explanation a little bit about who the Salem 7 is. And they kind of explain, that, they're basically the children of the witches that Agatha killed back in like 1693. And that they basically have been on this revenge kick all these years, trying to find Agatha and get revenge on her for killing their parents or their mothers. And so, basically we kind of explain that. And then Agatha comes out of nowhere going, okay, we need to go. And so they start kind of walking down the road, trying to figure out where to go, and figuring out how to avoid the Salem 7. And that's when they, basically start grabbing branches to create brooms so that they can fly out of there. And so this is like the first time you kind of get really witch vibey here, I feel, especially with the whole broom making thing. And, they grab these branches and basically, I don't know what they were doing, but basically they were like acknowledging each other with the, helping out with the branches by giving the other person a branch so they turn into brooms. I don't get it, but that's what they kind of were showing. And so each of them basically get one and they fly off. And basically they end up flying off. And as they're flying, we see this big, yellow moon. And it's almost very hocus pocus feeling like. And they're like, why haven't we been flying this whole time? And kind of like, oh, yeah, why weren't we doing this the whole time? Then all of a sudden the world starts to turn on them, starts making a kind of starting to go to the side, turning around like a 360. And they're like, what's going on? And they're like, God, the road's pulling us back. And so basically the road pulls them back. And as they're coming down and back to the road, all of a sudden they come across one of the Salem 7 who basically evaporates after bugs and bees come out of their mouth. And then all of a sudden they're at their next trial. So we'll stop there. So I feel that's basically kind of the introduction of the episode. So I want to get your guys' thoughts on the introduction of the episode. Of course, prior to the actual episode starting, we got kind of a brief history, kind of recap of the episode too, if you want to talk about that at all. But that beginning intro, I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on it, what you thought. Was there anything you noticed that you found interesting? And just overall, your kind of overall thoughts of the starting of this episode. So I'll start with you, Jesse.
Yeah, so, okay, it's neat to see we get some kind of standard witch-related things here with the brooms or the twigs, really, or the sticks, whatever you want to call them. I love how they try to do the explanation of how, we, the males have, boy, what was the word that they used? It basically, through brooms, it's a misconception that it's brooms that witches use because, we have used brooms as an icon of domestication, I think is what they said, something along those lines. So it was neat to get that neat little explanation. And then off they are onto these brooms for what I thought was going to be a Return of the Jedi speeder bike scene for just a quick second as they're going through the woods. Didn't happen. They fly up in the air just like you would see. And you're going to see here on October 31st, if you're running around trick-or-treating, you're going to see some kind of decoration that shows a witch flying in front of a moon. And there was a point in one of the previous episodes that they said that you're not supposed to go off the road. And as soon as they hit the air and it started pulling them back down, that was the first thing that went through my mind. It was like, okay, whatever that is, must be like, okay, you cannot go off of the road, and that's pulling them back down. Of course, they had to get to their next trial too, and they had the Salem 7 after them. So, I mean, that's kind of what I pulled there in our first bit. You know, they're trying to escape the Salem 7, which, geez Louise, again, I can't see what's going on my TV, so I know what one of those Salem 7 showed up, and it had to have been creepy because there was like bees and stuff flying around as they flew through it. I just couldn't see it. So now I should turn off the light next time I watch. I think that'll probably fix it. But anyway, yep, it's getting creepier. I can't wait to see what the next trial is going to be.
Okay, excellent. All right, Mr. Marvel, same question, sir. Your thoughts on that intro of the episode?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely something. This really isn't my favorite Marvel series so far, which I feel like that's fair. It's really hard to put it all together because it's pulling you one way from, you know, the first 3 episodes. It's putting you into something with the 4th. I really don't know the direction it's going to go now. I felt like it was very slow, then it started to come together, then it went just way too fast. So I don't know how we're going to really go forward from here. I feel like, you know, the show should be about Agatha, but it's really not.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's really where I fall with it.
Okay. All right. Andreas, same question, sir.
Yeah. I thought the opening was really cool, giving us some horror vibes in the show. That's the one thing I appreciate about the show. They at least bring in a little bit of horror vibes for us to enjoy, you know, especially now we're in October, which is cool. I thank goodness I didn't skip the recap because I remember the episode 8 opening of the Salem trial on Agatha, right? And so it was good that they put that there so that we could understand where the 7 Salem are about, you know, this new version for this show, you know, because it's going to be different from the comic books. And I like the explanation on these. They were like, these are the children of Harkness, her sister Covenant, that she killed, and that's the children of those mothers or, you know, parents, whatnot, chasing after her. That makes a lot of sense, and that's really cool. So far it's visually they look creepy. I mean, I appreciate we see the different abilities they can do here, you know, as their animal form. And then just in general, it's cool to see, you know, the witch, seeing the witches do their, you know, spells and witchcraft, creating brooms. That's really cool because I never saw that in any like witch movies or TV that I'd seen. So that was really neat to, you know, spin the idea of a broom, which is cool. And I like how Leah brought up, you know, it's like I like how the show is poking at the stereotypical nature of witchcraft in punk culture, and I like how they make fun of this broom. It's like, no, that's not how brooms are, you know. It's very domestic, and that's not how it is. So I just love that sense of humor there. But it was a good sequence to get us into, you know, the mood before we get into the trial, you know, and so that's very important.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Brad, your thoughts, sir?
I have to agree with Andres. I was getting the 80s kind of horror vibes throughout this episode. That was really nice touch from Marvel there. And having really little knowledge or backstory of Agatha for me personally, it was cool to see kind of the lore there that they're providing, her past with the Salem 7. So I've been wondering why there's been 7 people in creepy robes chasing after them this whole time, and that got to explain it. So I was appreciative of that. And I like how you can't get away from the road, that whole scene where it just turns upside down and they're back. So I did enjoy that. And then of course the kind of the humor there with the brooms of being, you know, this is a sign of domestication. And then they're all like, well, screw that, we gotta get out of here. So, and they all jump on them and fly away. So I thought those scenes in the intro really, you know, was a good part of the episode. So I really like the intro to this.
Excellent. Awesome. Yeah, I think that the intro is very fun. I found it interesting. Most definitely, one thing about this episode, as Mr. Marvel mentioned, is how fast paced it is. Like it gets right into it, gets to it, and gets it done basically. So I think it's kind of interesting how the show started off kind of having a little more of a better exposure or better expanding, and then as each episode has gone on, I feel it's gotten shorter and shorter. And this one, I feel, seemed to get the trial done the fastest out of all the ones we've done. So I think it's interesting that, I feel like they're kind of speeding it up. So I don't know if that has to do with maybe they cut things out that they decided not to put in or stuff like that. But I think that most definitely, they should have made this episode a little longer, maybe have the trial a little bit longer, stuff like that, kind of given it the same pace as the other episodes have. And I think that it would have made it a more well-rounded episode. But I definitely agree. This beginning is very interesting, getting to see more of the Salem 7, getting a little bit more of the road itself, seeing them on the road, kind of thinking things out. And then, of course, the broom thing I thought was really funny because it just was like, out of this whole time in all the MCU, I've really never seen any broom wielding by any of the Marvel characters. And then this episode decided, we're just going to have all the witches on brooms. So it's kind of funny. Like, are these like witches, like cackling witches, or is these like, superhero witches? Like, so I thought that was kind of funny. But because Jeff's not here, I feel like, it does not feel like anything that, we've seen. But
fuck you, Steve from Bumble. Fuck you.
Just, I got to bring that, great, Jeff vibe because he's not here. But anyways, great to see everyone. Oh, it looks like we lost Jessie. Where?
I think Jessie's backstage.
Oh, he's backstage. Let's go back. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Welcome back, Jessie.
Hey, all right.
And he's got his camera working. Woohoo!
Yeah, it took me a few. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's all good. Fine. We would have worked with you having just audio. It's all good. Anyways, so yeah, definitely, I think a good start to the episode. So moving on. All right. So after they have come to the next trial, they of course make their way inside the house. And when they get in there, of course, once again, they change clothes and turn into an 80s slumber party, basically. And basically have arrived at their next trial. Looks like it's a giant tree house looking place. Looks very much, like where people would go, in middle school, early high school for a sleepover type of deal. And, basically we get to the next trial. Right off the bat, they're trying to figure out who is this trial for. And of course, Aubrey Plaza's character, Rio, pops up and said, this is Agatha's. And they're like, what makes you think it's Agatha's? And they're like, well, look. and they're like, this is totally like Agatha would be, she's very 80s inspired, they're saying. So, so they basically say, oh, this is Agatha's, trial. And that she's the person that has to be the one to complete the trial. So after they basically have said that, they discover that they have to use the Ouija board in order to do this trial. And so basically the team goes over the rules of using the Ouija board. And he basically goes over the things. And of course, when they come to don't taunt the spirits, they make sure to mention and point at Agatha several times, which is super funny. Don't taunt the spirits. And she's like, why are you looking at me? Like, you totally would do that, Agatha. We all know you would do that. So, basically they go over the rules and, basically, put kind of Harkness in her place. So they start using the Ouija board. And as they're using the Ouija board, they ask who is, there. And it starts to move and crap. And it says Mrs. Hart. And they're like, Mrs. Hart? You mean like Sharon Davis? And they're like, but her name was Sharon Davis. Yes. And then all of a sudden, Agatha becomes possessed and is talking as Mrs. Hart. And she basically starts going to the thing. And then out of nowhere, one of them, Jen's like, she's faking it. She's just doing that because she's scared. And then Alec goes, yeah, I'm joking. I'm faking it. I'm not really possessed type of deal. And so then they actually really start to do the Ouija board. And as they're doing that, it starts to, move again and say, who is there? And it says death. And then it says, why are you here? And it's all of a sudden starts saying Agatha Harkness over and over again. And then after that happens, Agatha starts going, no, stop. We got to stop. And they're all like, no. And then all of a sudden, she becomes actually possessed. And all of a sudden they're, they get up and like, this is all her fault. She needs to be punished because the board says that she needs to be punished. Why are you looking for Agatha? Because she needs to be punished. And so they all start to kind of like gang up on Agatha, and for a second they take their eyes away and she disappears, and they start looking around. They're like, Agatha. And next thing you know, it gets dark in there and kind of lights go out. And then all of a sudden they look up top and there's Agatha possessed up top, comes down, starts doing her like weird walk thing, which you saw in the trailer and everything, and starts like going after people. And the teen is kind of scared and all that kind of stuff. And basically they kind of do it, doing the thing. And then all of a sudden she disappears again. And so we'll stop there before we get into more. So what are you guys' thoughts on that section of the episode, leading up to, Agatha disappearing again? And what did you think about all that? What did you think about the whole Ouija board thing being used? What did you think about, this being the trial for Agatha and it being just the 5th episode, and just your overall thoughts kind of, leading from the beginning to the trial to the second disappearance of Agatha after she's possessed. This time we'll start with you, Mr. Marble.
So, I mean, first of all, I want to say it gave me some really like crazy Ring vibes. That was just nuts. But like leading into the house, it was really cool. I don't know if y'all noticed, but like the Westview pendant was over the door. So I kind of had a feeling this is, going to be Agatha's trial. So I was really excited for that. But the Ouija board jumping out of the pile of games, no, that's where I don't mess around with that stuff. That started getting creepy. And when it's going through everything and it's Mrs. Hart and she pretends to be possessed by Mrs. Hart, I really kind of thought like, all right, we're getting Mrs. Hart back. She's going to do something. And then realizing the big letdown that she was just, Agatha was playing along the whole time. But it got weird. Like it's not really a dark Marvel, but you can tell it's got the level to go that way if they decide to do so.
Okay. Thank you. Andreas, your thoughts, sir?
Yeah. Well, first off, when Leah points out today that we're in Agatha's trials because she points out the moon that represent Africa as a witch, because that if everyone gets confused of like how they knew that, it's like, well, pay attention to the moons that it represents at the door because it tells whose trial it is. So it made a lot of sense when when she pointed that out. So I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense, because they're like Pacific witches, Green Witch and all that. So yeah, I thought this was kind of cool. The 80s vibe is great. I mean, first off, the production design, it's still great. They're like really killing this with the style you're trying to do here. If you didn't like WandaVision on how under the nose was for the sitcoms, this is, I think, your cup of tea. They're emulating, the like television, stereotype, but not in a very like noticeable way. And here we're in like this 80s, like almost like American Horror Story 1984 style, and and I think it's all good there. And yeah, when I see Ouija there, I'm like, oh no, we're dead. Like we're doomed. Like forget about this trial. It was like we're busted. And oh my god, when they did the Miss Hart, I was like, oh my god, Miss Hart's gonna come back. And then of course Harkness in her like very like this show has great dark humor, which I love. Very like Addams Family, or like like just dark humor in such a good way. That's something they did nailing correctly for this show. And so the fact that it wasn't her and it was just her, Harkness pretending to be Miss Hart was kind of like very cruel. But that was, that's Harkness and that's her, personality. So that makes sense. But yeah, then slowly it becomes when we get into the Ouija board, and she started, starts to possess Africa. It was very good. Like the way they set it up, it was dark. It was very creepy. I thought that was really great. And plus, I think I'm trying to remember. Yeah, and when everything just starts to like blown away in the room, you see like Rio really gets excited with the chaos and the irony, the crazy stuff that's going on, which is funny. Because every process is great. The way she interacts with these characters has been pretty awesome, and the way we get her interacting with Harkness is pretty cool. Yeah, her being possessed, Harkness was like creepy, very Exorcist, as usual. I was surprised she didn't throw up, like a the blue ooze like in the movie. I was like kind of surprised that he went that far for that. But yeah, it was a good sequence. It was very horror-like, and it was definitely intense, I have to say here.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Just want to shout out this Isabella C here in the comments section. She has asked, I am so confused with this episode. And then she asked, why did Wiccan do that? Where did Aubrey Plaza go? So I'm assuming you're talking about the end of the episode, which we have not gotten to, Isabella. Yeah. But definitely, it has been confirmed most definitely that it's Wiccan at the end of the episode. So thank you for sharing that with us. And but yeah, I mean, I don't know what would be confusing about the episode, but I do feel that the episode leaves us on kind of a cliffhanger. So I think maybe that would probably do that in that effect there. But yeah, most definitely. All right, going on to Mr. Brad. Your thoughts, sir, on the sequence?
I just want to first state that I think the set in this episode, that cabin in there, that's freaking amazing. Reminded me, this whole thing was like a summer camp almost, an 80s horror themed summer camp. You have a Ouija board spitting at you, and yeah, I'm not big into Ouija, so that I was like, oh, this is about to go sideways real quick. And it does. I mean, and we get Agatha ends up getting possessed and crawling all over the ceilings. And as Andre said, I'm surprised they didn't have her like spin her head around and say your father sucks cock in hell or something to that effect. So I thought it was pretty decent. And then I just want to say I think the greatest thing they took from us was Mrs. Hart / Mrs. Foreman. And when they teased that, I was like, nope, Agatha needs to be punished. I agree.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you, Brad. Yeah, I definitely agree. Yeah, most definitely. I was pissed when Mrs. Hart got killed.
Yeah.
Jaron Davis. I was like,
no,
the
second episode?
Yeah. It was like second, third episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one too many less. Okay, people, that one too many less. As Skeletor would say, what? But anyways, but yeah. Hello, Daniel, in the comments there. Welcome. Who is Eve? We'd like to know what you're talking about. That ending was good. Yeah, I agree. I thought it was. And then, of course, we have Executive Judge here. Just finished episode 5. This was way better than last week. Thank you. That's excellent to know. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for commenting. But anyways,
somebody
Jessie.
doesn't like 70s pop ballads.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't like 70s pop ballad. But if you got Patti LuPone, sorry, folks, there's going to be singing. Jessie, take us out here, sir, with your thoughts on that section of the episode.
Yeah, you guys hit all the big points that I had in my notes, too. I mean, fantastic 80s serial killer slasher horror vibe, and when you saw the Ouija, my note specifically says I don't mess around with the Ouija. But what's funny is, we got a Ouija. And I think that was probably one of my favorite parts. Actually, my favorite part was the the part where I was very confused for just a split second and thought Mr. Shart was the guy that was appearing on the Ouija. I was like, okay, wait a second, Mrs. Hart. I forgot. How could I forget? I have no idea. But yeah, Crab Walk. You mentioned The Ring, and I am deathly afraid of watching that movie. I watched it once all the way through, and it bugs me to this day. I can't do it. It's so off-putting and upsetting. So I as soon as somebody like puts their hair down in front of their face, let alone like just start walking like a crab towards me, I'm absolutely frightened. So that was really all my notes there. Because you guys hit everything else on the head.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, definitely when Agatha is possessed, she definitely just does give up kind of like a Ring vibe. I also would say you could even go Evil Dead vibe a little bit as well.
Oh yeah.
Definitely inspired very much by the horror genre. So they did a good job with that. It really gave it a very horror element. So, which is, kind of what they were trying to do with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, bringing in Sam Raimi and and having him do that. And so, I think that they kind of were trying to carry that on with this, and they did a pretty decent job. So welcome, Eli Thomas. That was fire. Excellent. Whatever you're referring to. I'm assuming the ending possibly. So yeah, I would say so. Fire. And of course, Daniel, once again, is Wanda coming back and Agatha All Along? There's rumor mill I've seen says, that possible. Who knows? I mean, even, Elizabeth Olsen herself has said, she'd come back to play Wanda. So, maybe, I don't know, possibly they could bring her in at the end. I'm not 100% sure, especially with Wiccan in the picture. So I definitely think that's a very possibility. But as far as I know, I have not seen anything 100% confirmed that she is appearing in Agatha All Along. All right. So back to the episode. So where we left off after the second vanishing of Agatha. So basically after that, that's when we find out, that she's been possessed by her mother. And we basically get a ghost of her mother, who was the one that was possessing her. All of a sudden, Agatha pops back up. She's on the second story, and she is, saying, "Nice to see you again, Mom. Thanks for possessing me. That's the closest I felt to you in a long time," type of deal. And of course, it's, classic Agatha going at it. And I think that was really great. But we get kind of more of that background of like what happened back in 1693, like we saw in WandaVision, and, kind of giving you a history about, Agatha a little bit. And, she says basically, she's like, yeah, she needs to be punished for what she did to us. And I'm blah, blah Harkness and, basically, introduce herself and stuff like that. And we kind of get a little bit more information out of her. And she kind of says, I wish I, killed you at birth after you left my body, basically, kind of showing how, evil she thinks Agatha is. And, we've seen what Agatha has been like since WandaVision, kind of got an idea of what she is. And, from the background about, back in 1693 and stuff like that, and what she did to, to Wanda in, the town there as she's grieving about Vision and her brother still. And, you definitely, things over the years Agatha has done, we're kind of getting little pieces here and there of kind of things she's done. And, she hasn't been a very nice person, let's put it that way. And so, kind of this kind of grudge or this revenge that, her mother spirit wants on her and others and stuff like that is, it's understandable. But at the same time, you're just kind of like, oh, that kind of hurts, saying that I should have killed you at birth, kind of hard there. But I think it really kind of gives you an idea of, kind of maybe why Agatha is kind of the way she is. Look at how her mother was and, how she was treated by her mother, stuff like that. So I think that was kind of a good indication there, kind of their relationship a little bit more, because we really didn't get much of it from that flashback episode in WandaVision, just kind of a little bit. But this definitely gives you a little more insight. So after we find that out, basically from there, she basically says, you guys should leave without her and go finish the road, but leave her here so she can be punished. And the witches are kind of like, oh, we should probably do that, and that'd be a good thing. And then, of course, that's when Rio pops up and says, no, I'm not leaving her with her. Even though she might have done evil things, I'm not leaving with her evil mother. And even Agatha's kind of pleading with them, saying, don't leave me, don't, and even, the teen is, basically saying, no, we can't leave her and stuff like that, still on Agatha's side. And basically it gets to the point where they realize what not to do, and where do we go from there? I'm getting a lot lost here. Sorry, guys. Let's see. Teen said no. That's by her. So then, basically, they're like, Agatha basically leaves the fortress, and they turn back into regular clothes, and they get away from the spirit, their mother, and I'm such a dumb. So no, now I remember. Okay, thank you. Alice, hello. Got to talk about Alice. Anyways, so then after they're starting to contemplate that. That's when the spirit of the mother is about to retake over. Agatha goes back into her, and basically ends up causing Alice to come over to try to defend her. And all of a sudden her powers start to work, or some powers that she didn't realize, and starts projecting them into Agatha to get the spirit out of her mother. And so after that, then all of a sudden Agatha starts to pull in Alice's power and ends up draining her of all of her power, and basically ends up killing her. And so we have another casualty, and Alice is dead, which ends up making the teen very unhappy and very angry with Agatha. So before we get to kind of the conclusion, let's talk about that scene with the spirit of the mom, the possession, the death of Alice. What were you guys' thoughts on that? What was your overall thoughts on that? And kind of what did you think about them killing off Alice? Were you expecting that? Did you not like that? And were you was there anything that you were like, oh man, I wish I could have seen her more and longer in the series? And let's start with you, Andres.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I guess let me start with the Alice thing, because that one was a huge surprise, because she's a comic book character. I mean, she's not like, her comic appearance is very short, but like, she's a very interesting character from the comics, and I was very surprised they kill her off like this, and I was shocked about that. I think that was the one part I was like, whoa, okay, yeah. I mean, you thought they like Sharon, Miss Hart dying was a big shock, but no, this was a big shock, because it's just how, with Miss Hart, she was a made up character for One Division, so like, I knew she was going to be a Cassidy, because he wasn't a witch, but with Alice, I was shocked that, first off, getting her powers, and then getting her force being drained by Attica was like really shocking, and very horror like, and I was so sad that she got killed. But it kind of makes sense the way her trial was last week. The fact that we like kind of wrapped up the curse that she got, like the sun demon, and that her mom was that she went to the witch world to like place like a good, you know, curse, like a spell to protect her from the curse, right? So I was really shocked. So it couldn't maybe make sense, what happened with last episode, but I was really surprised by that and sad, because I actually started to like that character. I thought she was really cool, very interesting, and her mom's story was very fascinating. So very sad that she's gone. Maybe she could come back in the spirit. That's something that could happen. But the big surprise was the mom. I knew the mom was going to pop up in this show, but I didn't know if it was either a flashback. But the fact that she came in as a spirit, astral projection, was really cool. And plus, if you guys, I mean, if you know about Africa Harkness comic book lore, that's how Harkness is. When she's mentoring Scarlet Witch in the comic books, that because unfortunately Attica dies in real life and she's just a ghost spirit that like mentors Scarlet Witch. So it's kind of funny that her mom is taking the place that Harkness is usually in. So it was really cool, and you know we got some deep like information about like what like how why Africa is like this, you know, why she become evil, and you know, it's because her family distrusts her, you know, her mom distrusts her. That line when she say like I should have killed you when you left my baby my body was so cold and like oh, you know, I felt bad for Africa, and that kind of makes sense what somewhat her thing in the trial, right? In the flashback. Um yeah, so I this was like roller coaster for me. That whole sequence was roller coaster, and it totally delivered the episode that we were looking for this series. It was amazing. I really enjoy it.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. Mr. Marble, same question, sir.
So I mean, just to start off, Evan Nora is a bitch. I mean, I'm just gonna put that out there. That is a mom that nobody wants to have, right there. But moving on to the darker things, killing off Alice, I feel like the MCU is making a major mistake here. Is not only have we lost one character, now we're getting another character loss. Um, Obviously, the name of the show, Agatha All Along. Agatha is going to be the only one standing when this is all said and done. It doesn't give any option for these characters to make a reappearance ever again in the MCU. So that makes me angry. I feel like Alice was a badass. She could have had huge potential moving forward in the MCU, maybe even having her own show. I mean, shit, her mom wrote The Witch's Road. Like that's the I don't I'm pissed. That's one character that just should not have been killed. And I hate that. But other than I mean, I get it. MCU has to do what they got to do, but they screwed up big time with this.
Thank you. Excellent. And welcome Wook and Quavar to the discussion here. And just to kind of go back to some of these wonderful comments here, Daniel mentioned what he thinks Wanda put the Kagall on Teen, which that is possible. And Mr. Andreas mentions that it has been confirmed, but that person that could have put a spell on him. And then Isabella has mentioned it's so whack they killed her, especially since she just got the curse removed. So I thought she was fine. I agree, Isabella. Definitely, she just got that curse finally off her back, and then she gets killed like that. That's definitely whack. And then Daniel mentions Alice was the best. I was crying, and very sorry to hear that. I would definitely shed a tear for Alice because she was so awesome, most definitely. And look, Wiccan will bring Wanda back at the end of the road. That's a good one. That's very possible. I see where that could happen. Most definitely, Wook. And then Isabella says, yes, she was the best. I'm so sad. Yes, it's very sad. Well, and and so then we have the executive judge back saying this show is basically a supernatural escape room. No one's safe here. True, most definitely. And then we got a newcomer, Jason Joseph Eugene. Welcome to the chat. He says, I don't think she's dead. Interesting. Yeah, possible. Wiccan puts the Seagal himself. Oh, very interesting. Very interesting. That is very possible too. He could have put it on himself, especially, as we get to the end of this episode, kind of could be a thing, because it seems he's pretty powerful. So, yeah, most definitely. All right. I think, Jesse, have you gone yet, sir?
Not yet.
All right. Please take us out, sir, with your thoughts on that section.
Well, I think that there's a couple of things that I walked away with here, which was just what is Rio's deal? And it's pointed out kind of like in that altercation with Agatha's mom, where initially she's just saying, let's go ahead and slit Agatha's throat. And then immediately, like right after that, she does not want to leave Agatha with her mom for punishment. Now I understand there's obviously there's a relationship, it seems like, that's happened in the past between the two. So it's hard for me to judge if she actually cares for Agatha or if she doesn't. And of course, it's being called out by other members of the coven that are there. And you start to wonder, like, okay, I get a real, like, she's in it for something other than, and I don't think she's it's not like she's trying to hide that, but man, I just don't know what it is. I think that's what bugs me. I want to know what her end game is. That's the big thing. The other thing I walked away here, we learned that the person on the Ouija board was Nicholas Scratch, which I think is a name that's been thrown out there a couple times in previous episodes, possibly. So, I mean, it wasn't that we find out that's the person that was Agatha's son, and we knew that, at least according to Rio, teen was not her boy. So here's Nicholas coming in and saying stuff, and you hear him, you kind of hear his disembodied voice for a couple seconds. And yeah, it's kind of unsettling, but anyway, there's your Nicholas Scratch reveal. And I think that, as far as my notes go, that's kind of all I had. I mean, gosh, I can't hammer it home enough, like how bad Agatha's mom is. Like, geez Louise, and it would be punishment just to be left there with her. That's horrible.
Excellent. Thank you, sir. And just to kind of verify that about Nicholas Scratch for you folks out there, he is Wanda's son in the comic books and is considered a supervillain. Just FYI for those out there. So yeah, so another, kind of like the Mephisto thing in the episode with the lake house looking, trial, where, Jen had to be the one to do the trial. Just like the Mephisto thing, here's another little nod to another character that we have not heard about before, or you might have heard of before, but was finally mentioned in a Marvel Studios production. So that's great. Excellent. All right. Quavar has come back in the section here, comment section, saying, I think Rio stayed behind to claim Alice's body. That's very possible. Maybe that's why she wasn't there on the there at the very end. So that's very possible. Most definitely. And then Jason Foots, welcome, says, could Nicholas or Agatha's mom possess the teen? Oh, that's an interesting one. Possibly, but I don't think so, because of just kind of what we got revealed here at the very end that we're going to talk about here in just a second. And then Nelly Beaubear, welcome, says, nah. Not to what? Not to what, my but he didn't take his hands off. Take his hands off of what there? Nelly.
His magic? That's what he's talking about? No, I don't know. Oh, the Ouija board he's talking about? Like, no, that
board there, Nelly?
Yeah, because the rule for the Ouija, if you take your hand out from the board, you're gonna be possessed.
The board, yes.
Yeah. No. We're past that. They're done with that trial when they leave. So that's not gonna be a fact.
Yes, there you go. Okay, yep. Yeah, I mean, he might have not taken his hand off the board, but doesn't mean that the spirit of Agatha's mom couldn't have possessed him. I think even though Agatha took it off and was possessed by her, I still think that the spirit could have still possessed other people. So, I mean, I don't think that actually was really a thing, the whole taking your hand off the board, because, I mean, the fact that Rio's there, who is, considered kind of, a certain character, I think that there's a lot more possibilities that could happen there. All right. Excellent, folks. Great job, everyone. All right. So basically coming to the conclusion of the episode. So after Alice's death, Agatha goes outside, in shock, after, taking Alice's power, and is confronted by the teen, and he's all upset. And, and Agatha says that I didn't have a choice. I could control it. And he's like, yes, you could. And he's like, I'm like, no, I couldn't. You know, she kept saying, and basically kind of threatens her a little bit. And he starts to kind of laugh and go, are you sure about that? Let's go, pet, kind of deal. And then that's when all of a sudden the other two, Jen and Patty LuPone's character, all of a sudden their eyes are blue and they're being possessed and grabbing Agatha. And we see Wiccan's hands. We see the teen's hands kind of flashing a blue color. And you're like, okay, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden they pull her over to the mud and throw her into the mud. And then she sinks down into the mud. And then we look over and we see the teen and his powers are even stronger. And then he throws the other two into the mud and then they sink into the mud. What part did I forget, Jason?
What part? I don't think we missing a part. Is he talking about the what was it? The teen talking to Agatha about you couldn't stop, and they were talking about the witch, being a witch you have to kill, and or you don't have to kill to be a witch, or
Yep. So basically that's kind of I was referring to that kind of when I was talking about the Agatha thing. And so after they get thrown into the thing, and it goes back over to the teen, and all of a sudden we see him, and he's all blue with a certain kind of looking crown, and the episode ends.
Yeah.
That's the part you forgot. Agatha says, you're so much like your mother. That's the part you forgot. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of suggesting towards that in what I was talking about. I didn't fully say it. Sorry. But yeah, I mean, that whole conversation leads him to doing what he does. So, but anyways, so yeah, end of the episode. We get that little thing that says you're so much like your mother. And, great part. I thought it was a really great ending. Basically showing us who Teen really is. We're finally figuring out that he's Wiccan. And it's kind of a funny thing too, because if you are into Funko Pops at all, basically the Funko Pops gave away which characters were which. If you ever look to find the toys or those Funko Pops for the characters for Agatha All Along. So right off the bat, if you looked those up, you knew who the teen was. You knew who Rio is. So it's one of those things. If you don't check. But excellent. So anyways, yes, you have a question, Executive Judge. What is your question?
Pins and needles over here.
Yeah.
Awkward silence ensues.
Awkward silence. Wait, hold on.
We'll wait.
Awkward silence. Awkward silence. 1 second.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, just
that's it. That's or how about of course we couldn't be without so anyways, yes, it's like, how did Agatha know who the mother of Teen was? Wow.
I mean, I think it's just the behavior of the teen. Like he really was projecting like Wanda's personality, and I think that's how right away she just instantly thinks, oh, you're very much like your mother, because she did that in WandaVision as well. Like she did, she was so naive of her powers, or that her who she was. So I think that's what happened. But we'll see, because what triggered it for him to be wicked, next episode. There's a lot of questions.
So go ahead, Jesse.
I was just going to say, I think by process of elimination, maybe, because she's figured out that it's not her son. She was initially thinking it was, and then finally now she realizes that her it's not her son, and she's like, who else could possibly do this? And she's just narrowing down things, and that's why she figured. I think that's how she figured it out. I can tell you, she figured it out before I did.
Yeah. Well, it was real. Also helped from last episode. She helped to tell her that look, that's not her son. That's not your son. So
yeah,
like that helped a little bit of like, okay, this is why I recognize you. It's because of this, you know.
Also, we had the disembodied voice of her possible son.
Yeah.
Before
yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Sorry.
also the sigil on his mouth is a WM.
Oh,
that kind of gives it away right there.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about the reveal. I gotta say, like, forget about the Funko Pops. Like, all of us knew it was that. I think it was Audrey Plaza character. I didn't know who she was gonna be. We'll get into it. Just
Death. No, anyways, sorry. Question felt anticlimactic for y'all. Laugh. There's like, no, it wasn't anticlimactic at all, sir. Thank you for the question. We appreciate it. And yes, Jason Foots, they both didn't want their power. I agree. Yeah, I think so. I think they both didn't want their power, most definitely. I think it's one of those things you like, why did I have to be born this way type of deal. So, yeah, I get where you're coming from there. So, all right, guys, conclusion of the episode. What did you guys think? Starting with Mr. Marble.
I mean, I thought it was phenomenal. Just the fact with the blue power crackling around his fingers. I mean, that was just awesome. And then, of course, Scarlet Witch's headpiece just showing up on his head. That, to me, should have been the penultimate episode. I know we still have a few more to go, but I mean, you could wrap it up right there. Like, that was just amazing. I'm ready to see what happens next week. I'm really invested in Aubrey Plaza's character, Rio Vidal, just because that's not an MCU character. That is something completely new. I love it when Marvel brings us new characters, and knowing that she's based basically on a whole bunch of other witchy characters throughout the MCU. But I think it was in episode 1 when she kind of showed her heart and was saying that she has a black heart. Well, that's Mephisto's son. So is this going to be Mephisto's son? And I'd be happy.
Excellent. Thank you. Brad, same question, sir.
I think the surprise reveal at the end was completely awesome. I don't think many were expecting that, if any. But I kind of want to go back to, we have Agatha here, and she's trying to prove to them that she wants the coven every now and again. And then we see her just completely steal Alice's powers. And then she's like, no, I can't control it. And then it's kind of like that wink nod thing of like, yeah, we don't believe you. And I don't, and neither did Wiccan. So I think that's what sets him off, is that she meant to do that. And that's why he sent basically all of them into the mud pies right there.
Excellent. Thank you. Andreas, your thoughts, sir, on the conclusion?
I mean, amazing. I think, I mean, totally shocking. It happened. I thought it was going to be later, you know, like typical Disney Plus shows, because we always get the big stuff towards like at the end of the show wrapping up. But the fact that they gave us this, like, in the middle of the show, I was like, thank you. Like, that's one of the things I appreciate about this show compared to other Marvel, you know, Disney Plus shows. Like, they're really, you know, they are sticking with the formula, you know, like the pacing here is like so typical Disney Plus shows that we've been reviewing, but it has more of the heart and the craftsmanship of Loki and WandaVision, if you like those shows. And but this reveal was just so spectacular. I mean, granted, I mean, we all knew that was going to be Billy, you know, Wiccan, whatever you want to call this boy, or teen, whatever. But I was expecting him to have like the blue, like tiara or whatever you want to call it, the headpiece. I was like, whoa, that's going far. I was like, okay, I can dig with this. And I was not expecting him to control the, you know, Jan and Leah and throwing Africa. It was just great. But I want to talk about you know, Catherine, the actress that plays Harkness. That scene was so spectacular when she's trying to tell the teen that I didn't control it, and that her turn of like, like of course not, you know, like her turn of like, being her selfish self was so spectacular. That switch of her being this mean spirit person that she is was so good. I'm very happy that they're sticking with her as a villain, because that's something I'm liking also with the Penguin. So I'm happy that they're sticking with that. That's giving me some hope. Um, and I just want to pick up the question for some of the commenters. They brought up Rio. I think I know what's going to happen with Rio, because we're getting if we're going to have Attica being the last person for the Witch's Wool. Well, Rio is going to get all the dead bodies she wants, because look at this. This is the second body that we lost. So she's kind of going to take it, just like how Attica took the forces, the life force. So that's probably what's her end game, is she's going to collect the depth from all those depth, and then that's how she can be powerful and kill Attica before she reaches to the richest realm. So that's my theory here. Where we're going to take that character, the fact that we didn't see her at all with the ending. So I'm very curious what's going to happen with that. But yeah, it's spectacular. I'm like so excited to go to next episode. This is the most exciting thing, because like I've been neutral for these episodes, and then this one is like, oh, all right, let's go. Come on, like just like the Penguin. I'm like, oh, come on, I need to see the Penguin. Now I'm like, come on, I need to see Africa now. It's like, oh, it's getting excited now. But yeah, spectacular Andy.
Thank you, sir. Jesse, take us on out with your thoughts on the conclusion, sir.
Sure. So this is the quickest episode, right, so far of the season. Like, man, we're talking 25 minutes of tight storytelling and some frights involved. So, as far as the episodes go, I'm definitely digging this right here out of all 5 so far. But yeah, as far as like knowing who Wiccan was, I mean, I had no clue. I'm sitting there, I'm like, who is it again? Because the clues were all there. You're so much like your mother. I should have known. And at the I hopefully our next episode is going to spell that out for people like me who are sitting there going, okay, I think I might know who this person is. But yeah, you got the tiara, or the crown. You've got what Agatha said to him. I'm just like, okay, who's going to die next? Because I think we are setting a trend here. Somebody is probably going to die again next episode, and you're right. We're going to end up at the end of this with just Agatha at the either Agatha is going to be left standing, or I want to know what also Wiccan's planning on doing here. Like, is he just going to get revenge for his mom? Does anybody have any theories that they want to throw out there as to what he's going to do?
Someone brought up, like, was it Wiccan go into the Witch's Wool and bring back Wanda, because because we know, like, because apparently Marvel confirmed that Wanda died in Doctor Strange 2. So this is a good way to get back Wanda before we get into Secret Wars, So I think that's what's going to happen, So I think that's what's going to happen with now Billy's storyline moving forward.
I feel like he's looking for Tommy, and you get what you want at the end of the road. So we're going to have Speed and Wiccan, and they're going to be an unstoppable force.
Possibility.
That's good stuff right there. Yeah. But yeah, I'm in for it. I want to see how this thing's going to conclude. I want to see what we're going to do. Any idea how many more episodes we got? 2 or 3 or
4?
Four more. Yeah.
4 more.
9.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So
9 episodes long.
So we got to knock off. Jennifer, right?
Yeah.
And then we got to knock off Lilia.
Yep.
All right. And then But yeah, I mean, what's next though? The next episode is like you've got to have a Wiccan versus Agatha here or something. I don't know, or we're just going to get backstory. Maybe that's what this next episode is going to do. Who knows? But anyway, I enjoyed this. I think as far as episodes go, this one's my favorite. I imagine we're probably going to go around and give ratings here in a few, but there you go. That's my thoughts. I really did enjoy what we got here.
I agree. I've actually been really happy with this series so far. I came in, like I've said in previous episodes, that I wasn't too sure how this was going to play out, if this was going to be any good because of how poorly the last few series have been. I would say we haven't had really a lot of great ones since Moon Knight. So this has really surprised me and how fun it's been, how fun the trials have been, and just kind of where they've taken it. And I think that Jack Schaefer, brought some of what she did on WandaVision to Agatha All Along. So I think it kind of has a little bit of that same vibe as WandaVision had to an extent. But overall, I think it really has brought, fun to it. So I agree. I think this was a really solid episode as well. So yeah, let's go around and give our ratings on the episode 1 to 10, starting with you, Mr. Marvel.
I mean, it's an easy 4 for me.
Okay.
Out of 10?
Brad?
Out of 10, yeah.
All right,
it's just because we have, a few more episodes left, and this really should have been the penultimate, and it wasn't. So now, what more can we do? We're losing characters. We don't have many more to lose. It just wasn't that great one.
Okay.
Mr. Brad.
I thought it was one of the better episodes I've seen. So I think I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. That gives it a little room there towards the end. If we get better, we get better. If we don't, we don't. Also, I think we're forgetting that the Salem 7 are still outside the door. And we still need to finish that whole story right there.
Good point.
Yeah.
Correct. Andres, your rating, sir.
Yeah, I think I'm the big defender of the show. I love this show. I mean, because I really love WandaVision, and I think Jake Schaefer has a really clear voice. I think she's the most prominent Marvel person. Jack Schaefer. Has raised the ranks. After WandaVision, I'm very happy she got a chance to expand this like MCU side of things. So I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10. I thought this was brilliant. I just think the performances and everything were top notch for this episode compared to last episode. So, but yeah, and one thing, like the finale is gonna be a double hitter, and plus we were gonna get Vision. Remember, we got White Vision. That's another thing that they have to pay off. So it has to be either Wanda or Vision coming back soon, besides Tommy, other brother. That was something I was thinking about in terms of theories, but I'm very excited for next week. I'm just like very leaving on the twist,
Yeah, Vision Quest is coming soon. Well, they confirmed that they're doing Vision Quest, which is the third arc of WandaVision. So that's basically like the third part of this trilogy that they've been talking about. So yeah, so the White Vision is finally coming back in his own show. So it'll be interesting to see where they take it from there. Because I definitely feel with the remarks of James Spader coming back as the voice of Ultron, they said they're bringing back Ultron at some point. So I feel that's where that's going to play into an effect with White Vision. So that'll be interesting to see what unfolds with that. Mr. Jesse, your rating, sir.
So I kind of want to throw out like my over under on Evan Peters showing up here in the show. I don't know if that'll happen. Quicksilver, anybody? Okay, maybe not.
No.
Dang it.
Possibly.
That was one of the like things that just broke my heart when they were like, nah, that's not X-Men. Back when WandaVision was going on, I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. Anyway, 8 out of 10. I feel like it could have got possibly higher marks for me if I would have been able to see a little bit more there at the beginning. But once we hit the treehouse or the Treehouse of Horror or the cabin from Cabin in the Woods or whatever, I was okay. I was digging everything that was being thrown at me. And like I said, it was a tight show for 25 minutes. You were kind of on the edge of your seat and they got everything out there. So I dug it, man.
Thank you. Excellent. Yeah, I'll give it a solid 10. I was entertained. I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. The reveal at the end gives it a solid 10 for me. Simple fact that we finally have confirmed Wiccan's character. So I like that they went that early to give kind of that showing, because that to me shows that the finale is probably going to be really crazy. Since the fact that they're already giving us this, they're finally confirming Wiccan. Probably, who knows? Next episode, they might, say exactly who Rhea Badal is. We don't know. But at the same time, I think that it's on a course with how fast the episodes are going now. It's on a course, I feel, to that ultimate conclusion with the final 2 episodes that'll drop on October 31st. That it will be pretty spectacular. So I'm looking forward to that. So I give it a solid 10 as well. All right, so that is the episode, guys. So what we'll do is we'll plug everyone out here, and then we'll get out of here. So basically, I'll just go around and to everyone, and you basically plug yourself. Just let people know where they can find your information, where they can find your content if you have content, and we'll do that. So starting with you, Mr. Marvel, where can they find you?
Greatly appreciate you guys having me on today. But you can find me at Mr. Marvel's Minutes. Any podcast out there, Google, Spotify, you name it, it's there. Check it out. They're great episodes. You'll definitely enjoy it.
Excellent. So Mr. Marvel
Mr. Marvel's minutes.com.
Minutes.com. All right. Mr. Marvel's minutes.com. There you go, folks. Mr. Minutes.com. Check it out. All right. Where can they find you, Mr. Brad, the Nerd Cores?
Thank you again for once again for having me on. You can find me at the nerdcore.com or on YouTube at the Nerdcore. We've got over 1,000 episodes of our podcast. So, we got a big back catalog for anyone who's looking for TV series, movie reviews, and the like.
Excellent. Mr. Andres, where can they find you, sir?
You can find me here, as you see in my title here, Andreas Pop Culture Channel Presents, where I do all my pop culture tributes and talks on either movies or television. I just recently did a recap on The Penguin episode 3 and Agatha episode 4 this last week, and I was going to start doing now Daryl, and of course, recently we got Superman Lois premiering their first 2 episodes, so I'm very excited to talk about that. So, yeah.
All right. And Mr. Starcher, where can people find you at?
All right. Yeah, I do a podcast as well. It's called the Source Material Comics Podcast. You should be able to find that on any podcatcher as well. Just type in Source Material Comics Podcast, should come right up. To kind of promote a little something that's upcoming, we mentioned Blackheart. So on the 31st of October, I have an episode that covers Hearts of Darkness and the Dark Design, which if you've heard of Blackheart, Punisher, Ghost Rider, and oh my goodness, hold on a second, Wolverine. The couple guys come on the podcast. We talk about both of those stories and we have a good time. And man, as some poor old Blackheart, he can't get a win.
Excellent. Great. So yes, everyone go look at these wonderful creators' content. Give them a watch, give them a follow, all that kind of good stuff. And you can also, if you enjoy me here as the host of the MCU'S Bleeding Edge, you can find me under Cyberneticshark for my solo content. You can find me on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Patreon. You can probably pretty much find me anywhere. Just look up Cyberneticshark. You should find me. All right, folks. So that was a great show. I want to thank everyone for watching, all the great people in the comment sections. Thank you so much for participating. And just thank you for all the different platforms that were watching this tonight. And we're going to get out of here. So have a great week. Have a great day. And we'll see you on Friday. We'll be discussing the 1980 Friday the 13th film for you guys. And give you a little Halloween treat for you guys on the MCU's Bleeding Edge. Hopefully, Mr. Jeff will be back to be able to talk and discuss that with us. And, of course, unfortunately, because he's in the Florida area, he's having some storm issues there. So he's sorry he couldn't be here, but he's here in spirit with us.
Yes.
Folks, Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Are going to take off,
Some of them gonna bomb.
just like they've bombed in the comics.
What about
I
this
mean-
guy? You think this guy can make it for the Avengers?
Diamond Days, a ninja teaching flex. Honey, let me see the sign there, honey. Come on in here, ninja. Here's my ninja. Diamond Days Ninja School. Come on down. What we're going to teach you, hold that, Lord. And what we're going to teach you in the first episode is a proper stance and a proper kung fu. And you got your Judy chop, all right? You got your karate chop, and you got your ninja chop. Now, what smart thing to do is like when you use a judo chopping, you gotta say it, you know, for you beginners, you know, like a Judy chop. Because what you don't want to do is like be a Judy chopping and a kung fu kicking, and there goes your leg. You know, there ain't much home for a one-legged ninja out there. Right there, hard as a rock, buddy. Let me show you something. I don't have last time, baby. Don't put it in front of your face. I don't want to hurt you. You got me? What we're going to do here, we're going to work on the ninja chops. What we're going to do. You go a ninja chop. Well, now see, now sometimes it don't always work for a ninja, you know, but it practice makes it perfect. Don't go ninja nobody, don't need ninja, alrighty? Now them things there, if I was put them in my pockets, that'd get me for concealment of a deadly weapons. It says you got your son fella coming at you out in the trailer park. Regular cannon you say? No, says I. Watch this, people. Yeah, we just rolling through the trailer park. What's that? What's that fella doing? Ninja start. Right there. That son fella jumps up behind a trailer on you. You know, you got foot on out yonder like that, and you can't get him caught up in your ninja outfit, you know. And like if a feller's coming at you with
Dude,
Yo,
that guy lived right next door to me, man.
Yo, what the hell was that weapon he pulled out there, DM? Was that a crack pipe? Like,
It looked like a damn skull can or something, didn't it?
Where did you find that?
listen,
That's the
hey, that guy, that he said that he,
Oh,
Hey. I said, excuse me, but you don't understand where I'm at. I was all around the world, on span, cross the map. I've been laying low and now it's time to pop up, bitch, I'm back. Now I'ma run it up. Snooze on the kid that you done with what? You better go get your numbers up. Now
And there we go, folks. We are out.
Wait, we're still live.
Oh,
We're not quite out.
We are
not
not
quite
out.
out, folks. Thanks for still watching.
Have a good night.
Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, that's why. Okay.